Hello and welcome to another exciting episode of Wayne Family Adventures with Full Spectrum Stories. I missed up the intro, but that's okay. We're going to keep moving. My name's Trey.
Hi, Roman.
We're looking at episode 8 today. This is Crush Part 1, one of 3.
Yes.
Yet again, I feel like I say this every chapter. I liked this chapter a lot.
I did too.
The setup for this chapter is that Duke has a crush. And that could be just a nothing, right? I will say, this is the kind of plot that every once in a while we do still see in comics, right? However, we don't get the whole dedication to the chapter, right?
Yeah.
Towards the end of the issue, that person's been kidnapped by whatever villain.
Right.
And they have to go try and rescue them, you know? Whereas this is just focused on that story. It's just the story of Duke and Anna.
Right.
Which is really interesting. Before I just keep going, let me give you a chance to speak.
Well, I was letting you go on because I want to... It's going to sound so bad. Hear me out. This is a cliche.
Yeah, it absolutely is.
The thing is, there's so many things that are that. It's just, is it done well or not?
Right.
And this is done well.
Yes.
This is a high school crush.
Mm-hmm.
You know, for a lot of people, this is just a simple, relatable story.
Right.
With a person who lives an extraordinary life.
Right. And it does a lot for me to humanize, which is what this whole series is about, right? Humanizing these characters. And if you've never read the comics, you get so rare moments in the comics where they are humanized. So to have this whole story that is humanizing them. And this chapter is all about that. It is just Duke when he's not in costume.
Yeah.
When he's at school.
Yeah, he's a high school kid.
He thought he'd faced the scariest stuff he could. Yeah. And now the real scary thing is that he has a crush on this girl. And there's a lot of little things in this chapter. I know you have a couple things you want to bring up.
Yeah.
The first big one that stood out to me is that Dick Grayson comes to pick him up from school.
Yes.
You know, it's like it's such a little thing. It never would have had to be brought up at all, right?
No.
But it just shows yet again they are a family.
Yeah, he could have had the limo could have showed up with that, but no. It was Grayson and of course it was doing how, you know, a big brother would act, you know, give him a hard time, give him terrible advice.
Yes. I think that what also really helps here is that, you know, the whole Wayne Family Adventures, Batman is all about found family, right?
Yeah.
Blood is not what's important to him. What's important is that you are a part of his family.
Yeah.
And you see that in Duke's interactions with Dick.
Yeah.
And the way that, you know, they operate together. And to then have the first time in this story where they've interacted with somebody that's not family.
Yes.
Like, even in chapter 3, Barbara was talking to her dad.
Right.
And so you have that different dynamic of, like, yeah, Duke is nervous. He doesn't know how to talk to her. And like you said, he gets bad advice from his big brother.
Yeah.
And it all just plays really well together with the I'm going to use a big word that we try not to use in reviews too often because it makes us sound like we're trying too hard. It's a nice juxtaposition for the rest of the story. You know, the way that Duke and Anna interact.
Well, also it gets back to like I said, the character I started with, the journey that started with, the point of view I was taking was like, hey, new life coming into it, and you know how he reacts is, you know, kind of like how I would react, like no, you know, so off, and it's just these touch points. You do get touch points like this in comic book.
Yes.
From time to time. Sometimes but yeah, it's so dynamic, or usually so tied into the story arc.
Right.
Either tragically, or you know, or
it's Peter Parker and Gwen Stacy, right?
Yeah.
You get that lead up of there's a kind of a thing here, and then by the end of the story, you know, Gwen Stacy gets Gwen Stacy'd.
Well, like I said, this is. I think the Archie reference works here as well.
Yes, I agree.
And it's a story. I feel the artwork works together with the writing.
Oh yeah.
I feel and everything is just. I think it'll stand up. This will still work years from now.
I agree. And if we want to talk about art, another one of those little things that I wanted to bring up, the expression on Anna's face when she thinks that she's been rejected. The stiffness of her shoulders, the way she completely collapses in.
Yes.
The movement lines are jagged, and you know it all you feel that emotion from this art in a way that I think is really good.
Well, that is, I think that right. That's a turnaround, right?
Yeah,
that's a striking panel right there, and it is expressed perfectly for the story.
Yeah.
It makes it. This is really pleasant. It's still not. Still like Vigilante Bingo.
Yeah.
It is my
I
favorite.
agree.
But there's definitely nothing wrong with the story. This is very nice, and I'm looking forward to the. This is part 1 of 3.
Yes, part 1 of 3.
So one for the. Looking forward to the next 2.
Yeah.
See through that.
I can't think of any other like little things I wanted to throw out there. I think that it's really interesting to see Duke is paired with the color yellow in a lot of ways because of course he is. You know, that's his costume's yellow.
Yeah.
But I think it's just really interesting the way that works. Whereas Dick Grayson is paired with much darker colors, but is driving a bright red truck, and just something about that just really stood out to me. It's like, yeah, of course he is. You know, of course he is.
Yeah, and we'll mention the scene at the end. You gotta have the good fist pump.
Yeah, the Breakfast Club moment.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, enjoyed that.
Yeah. So let us know your thoughts on Crush Part 1, Episode 8 of Wayne Family Adventures in the comment section down below. And until next time, I've been Trey.
I've been Rungren.
And we've been The Full Spectrum. Remember to always enjoy the full spectrum that Wayne Family Adventures has to offer.